I was motivated to make this video because I have noticed that the majority of the internet Anipoke fandom doesn't actually know the difference between character development and career advancement or skill acquisition. They can't seem to tell them apart. Take this comment as an example. According to this person, Serena had massive character development because she started as a beginner and ended up in the finals, gaining recognition for her contests in Hoenn. Meanwhile, they claim Misty had no character development because she started as a gym leader and ended as a gym leader. So let's dive into why this logic is flawed and what the real difference is. So I'm going to give you two different examples and I want you to answer a question based on them. Let's look at the lives of person A and person B. Person A developed an interest in editing after seeing people create great content. He then started editing himself. At first, his editing skills and his edits were very poor. During this process, he felt frustrated and disappointed that his work was not good enough. However, he kept improving his skills and eventually made many great edits, some even better than the editors who originally inspired him, and he gained recognition for that. On the other hand, person B used to make racist jokes. He was racist, xenophobic, and used to think he was superior to others because he was white and came from a prominent state. He felt a lot of pride regarding that. He also used to resent helping his parents and would show off his stuff because he obtained things more easily than his friends did. But then he realized that his mindset about race was wrong and he stopped being xenophobic. He also decided to help his parents out because he realized how much effort they put in for him. Furthermore, he stopped showing off his stuff because he realized how much work a person has to do to earn the money to buy those things. Now tell me, which person actually developed? If you look at it, person A merely developed a skill and received recognition for it. Meanwhile, person B changed as a person, his mindset and his character completely transformed. That is the difference between skill acquisition and character development. One developed as a person while the other developed a skill. Now let me explain why skill improvement isn't the same as character development. Take a chess champion as an example. He started from zero and became a champion, but eventually another person who started from zero defeated that champion. Later, that new champion also lost to someone else who started from zero. The point I want to make is that you can't always win. You win some and you lose some. That is not development. It's just the reality that sometimes you play well and sometimes someone else plays better than you. A person who performs well today might not play as well in their next match. Does the fact that a recognized player loses to a beginner means the beginner is a more developed person? Or just because he's a recognized player so he's more developed as a person than the beginner? Obviously no. In competition, wins and losses happen because of skill acquisition. Take Ash as an example. His Pikachu was once weak, then it defeated legendaries. Yet it still occasionally loses to new trainers or non-ace Pokemon. How can you call that character development? You can't because it's not. It is simply Pikachu improving its skills. And even with high skills, you can't always win. The same goes for Charizard. He once defeated Articuno, but later lost to Brandon's Dusclops, even though Bulbasaur managed to defeat it. To explain this point on a deeper level, we can look at three specific concepts. First, linear skill versus cyclical performance. Skill acquisition is often linear. You generally get better over time, but performance is cyclical. You have good days and bad days. If a world class sprinter trips and falls, they haven't lost their development as a person, they simply had a bad performance or someone performed better than them that day. As I mentioned earlier, Pikachu losing to non-aces or less experienced trainer or Charizard losing to Dusclops doesn't mean they underdeveloped. It just means that in a dynamic system like battle, many factors, luck, terrain, and strategy determines the outcome. Wins and losses are data points, not personality traits. Second, competence versus character. Competence means what you can do, and character means who you are. Competence is being a chess champion. If that champion loses his title, his identity as the winner vanishes. A champion can have insecurities, a champion can be a cheater or an arrogant person, or they might have internalized hatred or anything. It could be anything, but their skill doesn't define their character. Character is something you are, and it is represented by person B. If person B loses his job or career, He's still a person who rejected racism. His change is not depend on a scoreboard. Skills are something you have, but character is something you are. Third, the glass ceiling of skills. In any skill, there is always someone younger, faster, or stronger coming up from zero. If we define development by winning, then development is temporary because everyone eventually loses. If we define development by character, like person B, then development is permanent. Once you realize that prejudice is wrong, you don't lose that realization just because someone else is smarter than you. In simple words, skills are competitive and relative, while character is personal and absolute. Skill: I am better than you today, but you might be better than me tomorrow. Character: I am a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. Take Ishida from A Silent Voice. He didn't have a career or professional recognition, but his development was entirely internal. He used to be a bully, arrogant and aggressive. After the incident with his friends, when they blamed everything on him, he stopped socializing and developed a fear of looking people in the face. Over time, he became a much kinder person. He gradually learned to open up and started socializing again. He got over his fear of socializing and looking into people's face. He broke the shield he made and understood that what he had done was wrong. That is character development. He didn't gain a new skill, he changed on a personal level. Now take Iris from Pokemon as another example. Many people don't really understand Iris's character arc. They often criticize her by saying she had no development in Black and White but has huge development in Journeys because she became a champion. Again, this confuses career advancement or skill acquisition with character development. Iris's real development wasn't about being a champion, but rather it was that she used to get overwhelmed by her emotions during battles and failed to consider her Pokemon's feelings and needs, which is why Exaril stopped listening to her. Later, Iris realized she wasn't the only one battling. She learned to understand her Pokemon's feelings and to consider their wishes and pacing before her own. Even her reason for entering the World Coronation Series and competing in the Unova League was to get closer to her Pokemons and understand them. Now moving on the comment, Serena's development wasn't about the fact that she started as a beginner and ended up as a runner-up or the recognition she later received in Hoenn. Rather, it was about her initially having no goal and later finding one. There are, however, many flaws in her writing which I will explain in another video. As for Misty, she is not a static character, and she certainly didn't lack development. Her growth was about the fact that she was a hand-me-down, which is why she used to value her belonging more than people. But then she started to value people over belongings. She learned to get along with Pokemon she didn't originally want and grew to love them. She was very harsh with Psyduck before, but later she became much nicer to it. There was also a time when she didn't want Ash to catch a bug Pokemon, but then she herself was cheering Ash on during a bug catching tournament, showing that she had accepted getting along with her friend's bug Pokemon. She even started to like Ash's Heracross and Tracy's Scyther, which she didn't used to. Due to being neglected and not receiving proper love and attention from her sisters, she became emotionally dependent on Brock and Ash. She received that missing love from them, which is why, while facing her biggest fear, she kept asking Ash and Brock to help her. She was asking them to lend her their strength, the strength of love and attention she found in them. But after she overcame her trauma and fear on her own, she became emotionally free from them. Because of her sister's behavior towards her, she used to feel obligated to help them and the gym. But then she understood what her sisters had done for her. She decided she wanted to be a noble little sister who works hard and helps her sisters because they did things for her when she was in need, because that is the responsibility of a sibling. She turned her obligation into her responsibility. She also accepted her gym leader responsibility and turned it into her dream. Because of her sisters were so fickle, she decided that she couldn't depend on them and would do the best she could herself. That was Missy's character development. I also want to clear one thing up. Achieving a dream is not equal to character development. Just because you achieved something you wanted, it doesn't mean you developed as a person. For example, there is a person whose goal is to get 1 million subscribers and they did it, but they might still be the same person with the same internal flaws they have always had. They just achieve an external milestone, which is what I already explained in the skill versus character part. The reason these two are different is the difference between external success and internal growth. The dream is the trophy, character development is the software update. If you get the trophy but your software is still the same as it was on day 1, you haven't developed, you have just succeeded. When you achieve a dream, you have simply reached a destination. It doesn't mean you have changed on the inside. However, dream and character development can work together in writing. Let me explain how. Example 1, Misty. Misty wants to be a water Pokemon master, but at the same time, she used to had fear of Gyarados and used to hate it. She also used to dislike Psyduck. Later, she overcame her fear of Gyarados and started to love both Psyduck and Gyarados. In this case, her dream and character development worked together because she grew to love these Pokemon which she used to hate, which at the end are water Pokemon. Example 2, May. May didn't actually like Pokemon when she started her journey, but because of contests, her views on Pokemon changed. She started to love them, found them amazing, and decided to become a coordinator. Her dream, becoming a coordinator, was the result of her development, learning to love Pokemon. Example 3, Dawn. Dawn used to take her contest losses so seriously that she almost lost interest and couldn't move on. Later, her development was about understanding that winning and losing are both part of the journey. She learned how to move on from failure. That was her development, learning resilience through dream. Example 4, Iris. Iris used to dislike dragon types, but her views changed and she decided to make mastering them her dream. Her goal is the result of her development. Her reason to compete in championship was to understand her Pokemon's feelings better. Because she didn't used to understand them, her development and her dream worked together. Let me explain this to you with a real life example. Imagine a person who didn't have a goal, but later they finally found one. However, at start, they were lazy, they skipped work, they didn't value their time and they lacked discipline. But during the process of chasing that goal, they became disciplined. They learned to do their work on time and began to understand the true value of time. They were no longer lazy. Through the process of pursuing their goal, they changed as a person. Even if they weren't able to achieve the goal itself, they still changed. They became disciplined, they understood the value of time, and they stopped being lazy. They fundamentally changed on a personal level by the end. So, I hope you learned something from this video and now understand the difference between character development and career advancement or skill acquisition, and how to view the development of many characters through that lens. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you are new to the channel and want to see more content. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.